What does a nutritionist eat in a day? Today I'm going to cut the faff and tell you exactly that. My name is Sam Gerlin. I'm the founder of Gerlin Nutrition. I'm a fully qualified nutritionist and I'm a health coach. And today, as I say, I'm going to be telling you exactly what I eat in a day and why there's no faff. I'm going to cut straight to it, starting this morning with my beloved kefir bowl. Now, if you don't know about me, you haven't followed the channel, you haven't been over on my Instagram, you might be thinking, what on earth is a kefir bowl? Now, if I can show you and give you a little look, looks pretty banging, right? I'm going to pop it over here for the minute before I explain exactly what is going on in there. But as I say, today I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm eating in a day, starting with breakfast. This is my first meal. I'm currently eating this at 8 o'clock. I ate my last meal at 8 o'clock last night, so I've had a 12-hour window where I've not been eating. That just allows the digestive system a little break. You know, we sleep to give our brain a rest, so we should also do the same with our gut. Allow at least 10 to 12 hours between your last meal of the previous day and your first meal of the first day, or the new day rather. Okay, so moving straight onto the kefir bowl. I'm also going to be telling you about lunch, so stay tuned. Any snacks that I have, dinner. Today is an active rest day, so I'll be doing an easy sort of run a little bit later on. So just bear that in mind as I explain what I'm eating today. Okay, let's pull this back over here then. I'll leave the spoon there for the moment. The kefir bowl, what is going on in here? Now, what am I looking for in my breakfast? Now, the first thing that I'm looking for is something that's nice and high in protein, because if we haven't eaten for 10 to 12 hours, you know, we don't have a lot of amino acids flowing through the system. So we want to get those amino acids flowing early in the morning, and that comes from our protein. Protein is also satiating, so it's going to make sure that we stay fuller for longer in the morning. And the same goes for fiber as well. I'm looking for a lot of fiber and a lot of protein in my breakfast. Okay, and I've found the best way to do that is with this here, the kefir bowl. Now, kefir is fermented milk. I have kefir yogurt, so it's fermented yogurt, and I combine that with a bit of Greek yogurt as well. Now, typically I'll have around 100 grams of kefir yogurt and about 150 to 200 grams of Greek yogurt, depending on my levels of activity and exercise on that specific day. The reason that I combine the two, Greek yogurt can be slightly higher in protein, plus kefir on its own can taste a little bit bitter, and we want to be enjoying the foods that we eat at the end of the day. So combining the two provides the perfect combination. You don't really taste the bitterness of the kefir, and you get an extra boost of protein from Greek yogurt. People often ask me, you know, can I have skyr or phage? I think it's phage or phage, whatever you call it. And yes, that's absolutely fine. But what you don't want to do is have a 0% fat yogurt. Now, it's okay if, you know, you're really trying to cut out the fats, but what often happens is that they replace the missing fat with sugars and other additives which are just no good for you. So in general, aim for 100% fat Greek yogurt and kefir. Okay, now a little bit more on kefir. I mentioned the fermentation there. Now, kefir yogurt has 3 to 5 times the probiotics of a normal Greek yogurt. Now, what are probiotics? Probiotics are the microbiota that colonize your gut. So you eat them and you get a diverse range of probiotics to colonize the gut. Now, why is that beneficial? A diverse microbiota is super important for your gut health. Okay, and gut health is linked with improved immunity, reduced inflammation. 70% of our immune system resides in the gut. So if we can look after our gut, I always say that it will look after us. Okay, so a kefir yogurt or fermented foods in general, some other examples are kombucha, you've got kimchi. These sorts of foods are really, really great for your gut. So the reason that the kefir is in there is for the probiotics. Now let's move on to the toppings. As you can see here, I've got some strawberries in this one. I've got a little bit of orange or satsuma, some blueberries as well, chia seeds, a homemade granola. I've got some organic honey. Sometimes I put peanut butter on, but I haven't got any in there this morning. I'll place that over there. Now let's talk about the toppings. I mentioned the need for fiber at the start of this conversation about my breakfast, okay? Now, fiber is super important for, again, gut health. It's super important for feelings of satiation and making sure that you feel fuller for longer, so you're not snacking in between meals unnecessarily. But fiber also contains prebiotics. Now, what are prebiotics? Prebiotics are the foods that our probiotics will feed on. So you can see how this is starting to puzzle together and make sense now. The probiotics from the kefir, and indeed from the Greek yogurt, there are probiotics in the Greek yogurt too, combined with the fibrous prebiotics from the toppings, such as the fruit that I mentioned there, the berries, the orange, the nuts and the seeds, the homemade granola. And just for context here, I'll leave the link in the description below. My homemade granola is simply just oats, an assortment of nuts and seeds with a bit of maple syrup. I might throw some cacao nibs in there and I just stick it in the oven. It's nice and easy. It's, no added sugars, anything like that. Better than what you'll find in the supermarket. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description below. Anyway, these prebiotics are what our probiotics feed on. So what you're creating is a really happy gut microbiome, because the probiotics that are colonizing the gut, you want a diverse range of those. I've got plenty of foods to feed on if you're getting plenty of different nuts and seeds and berries. Now, what I tend to try to do is mix those nuts, seeds and berries, fruits up all the time, so you're getting a different variety of prebiotics and fibrous foods for those probiotics to feed on and to stay happy. Okay, so that is the thinking behind that. And that is pretty much it for the kefir bowl. Depending on the day, I might switch up something. So I might have a little bit more honey on a training day. I might, have a little bit more peanut butter if I need the calories that day. And again, it's a high intensity day. But it's typically this base with the chia seeds, with a few different berries and fruits and the homemade granola. That is breakfast explained. So I'm going to tuck into this now and enjoy it, and I will see you all for lunch very soon. And by the way, the taste on this is absolutely unreal. So good. One other thing I should mention that I failed to is that the chia seeds are really nice and high in ALA omega-3s. Omega-3s, as we know, are great for our brain health. So that's another part of my thinking there. There's loads of antioxidants in the berries too. So they're really good for reducing inflammation as well. A couple other pointers that I forgot to mention. But yeah, stay tuned for lunch coming soon. Another point I wanted to make very, very quickly before I sit down and crack on with some deep work for the morning is on caffeine, okay? So I've already had an espresso early this morning. You might hear Andrew Huberman say, no coffee, no caffeine the first 90 minutes of the day because it doesn't have the effect you're looking for because of our adenosine receptors. But for me, it's more of a ritual thing. I'll wake up and have my coffee. Makes me feel good, sets me on the straight and narrow for the day's work. And I've just had my breakfast. I will have a second espresso for that extra hit of caffeine. I also quite like to have a green tea. I don't know if you can see my mug over there. I'd also like to have a green tea after I've eaten a peppermint tea because it can aid in the digestive process. So a quick little point on that. I'm going to get cracking with work. But yeah, stay tuned for lunch. Okay, so as promised, lunch is served. And I will put a little bit of B-roll on screen so you can see exactly what I'm looking at here because the camera isn't getting it in shot. But we have got a little bit of turkey mince, 5% fat. We've got some white jasmine rice, I'll explain why in a moment, and a nice big salad on the side. Now, I've also got some Brazil nuts in there. I've got some mixed seeds. I've got a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil on top. Salt, black pepper. I like some chili flakes as well. We've got to make our food taste nice because at the end of the day, as I mentioned this morning, if you're not enjoying your food, then what is the point? It's not conducive to a sustainable approach otherwise. But the reasoning behind this is fats are slightly higher in this meal. Today is an active rest day, and on my rest days, carbohydrates are slightly lower, and I increase those healthy fats to help with things like reducing inflammation and hormonal health, because when I'm training twice a day, the priority is always carbohydrates to help, with my training and make sure that glycogen stores are topped off. That is also the reason why I have indeed got some white jasmine rice on here, because I'm back to training tomorrow, or I've got a light session this evening. So I want to just make sure that I'm keeping on top of my carbohydrate intake. Then I've obviously got the turkey mince there for a quality source of protein on the side. And that is pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. I've got some cherry tomatoes, some radishes in the salad, spinach, some different, mixed leafy greens, all for those micronutrients, those polyphenols, which are plant defense chemicals, which are great for gut health. So that's the thinking there too. I'm going to tuck into this now because I must say I'm starving hungry. It's currently approaching 12 o'clock. So 4 hours since I ate my last meal. It's around midday. I'm going to enjoy this. And then I'll be back with you if I have any snacks. I don't think I will, because the day is an active rest day. I don't necessarily need the extra calories or energy or carbohydrates. So I'll be back with you for dinner to show you what I eat then. But that is my lunch, following my breakfast. I'm looking forward to this one. How could I forget? I almost forgot my little bit of dessert here, which is a chocolate protein pudding. Now, I'm supplementing with a whey protein isolate here just because slightly lower in lactose, excuse me, which means that, for those that have distress or GI distress from lactose, it's a slightly leaner source of protein as well. So less carbohydrates, less fats, more protein, so more of the good stuff. I simply just mix it in a bowl. There's a scoop and a half in here. So that's around 30 grams of protein with a little bit of milk. And I just enjoy that as a little sweet treat after my lunch. It's better than the alternative, which is, normal chocolate. And it just helps supplement and help me get towards my protein goal for the day, which is 1 gram per pound of body weight. I weigh close to 160 pounds. So 160 to 170 pounds. So I'm aiming for around that each and every day. Typically a little bit higher, especially on training days. Even on rest days, to be fair, and today being an active rest day, I'm striving for my protein, so that is a way to get it in. I should also add that I will be putting the calories and macros on screen. I do not track my calories personally. I have previously, and I've developed a good eye for, how many calories are in foods and roughly how much protein. Calorie counting for me is a really helpful tool, but isn't something that is conducive to a sustainable or enjoyable approach in the long term. So that's my take on calorie counting, but I will still put the calories and the macros on screen so that you get an idea of exactly what I'm eating. An alternative that you can use to calorie counting if you want to be a bit stringent with it, but you want to avoid weighing out your food and, going through that whole process, is I actually weigh myself morning and night every single day. So that gives me an idea of, how much physical activity I put in that day and how that compared with how much food I, took on that day and how that impacted my weight. Obviously weight fluctuates for many reasons, but it can inform your food decisions somewhat. Okay, so I'm going to enjoy this now. This is my little mini dessert after my lunch there, just to topping up my protein for the day. Let's go and enjoy this. Okay, so I've just cooked the dinner. I've got the pasta sauce on the go over there. I've got the chicken in the oven behind me, and I'm about to go for a nice and easy 8 to 10 kilometer run. Not necessary to take on any fuel, but 30 minutes before, I'm a little bit peckish, so I'm going to have myself a banana. Love a banana, me. Can't beat a good banana. This one's a little bit green, so not tasting the best, but look, a banana is a banana, right? So that's a quick about 20 to 25 grams of carbs right there. Not really thinking too much about it because it will be a zone 2 steady state run, so I don't necessarily need the carbs, but as I say, a little bit peckish, so a banana don't hurt. Gonna get out there on the run, come back, dinner is ready to go, so got that to look forward to post-run. Okay, and just like that, the last meal of the day is served. And here we have a cheeky little chicken pasta. I've got 2 chicken breasts on here, so you're looking at around, to be fair, they're quite big chicken breasts. So Probably looking at about 20 to 25 grams per chicken breast here. So I've got a nice and high protein dinner. Plenty of carbohydrates in here as well. I'll tell you what is in the pasta sauce itself. I chopped up a leek. I chopped up a white onion. I chopped up some garlic. I chopped up some aubergine. There's some green olives in there too. I used some oregano, some parsley, some plum tomatoes, and I believe that's it. Some paprika as well. The chicken was done in the oven with some Cajun spice and some extra virgin olive oil. The pasta sauce was cooked in an extra virgin olive oil as well. And all I'm thinking here is I've just got back from a 10K run. Very nice and easy. As I mentioned beforehand with, when I had the banana, I said it was going to be zone 2. So utilizing fats more than carbohydrates. But with a big day of training tomorrow, I'm thinking I need the carbohydrates. And it's not a bad time to eat a high carb meal before bed because, as we all know, you eat a high carb meal when you want to go to sleep. So that's the thinking behind that. Obviously, plenty of protein as well. I want to make sure that I'm properly recovered. The muscle protein synthesis is ticking over from that run, so I'm ready to train again tomorrow. Same goes for the pasta and the carbs as well. Carbohydrates can enhance the muscle protein synthesis process, so that is a contributing factor there as well. But also just making sure my glycogen stores are topped off for tomorrow's workouts. I've also got some butter beans in the sauce as well. That is the one ingredient. I knew I missed one out. Butter beans are another great source of protein. Loads of fibre in there. When I make these sorts of pasta sauces, they're super, super easy. And I'll knock up a big batch, so I've got enough for 2 or 3 days in advance. I typically eat that for lunch, and I've not got to worry about cooking at lunchtime for the next few days. Always mixing up the ingredients, using different veg. I might use chickpeas in the next one instead of butter beans, for example. And that nutritional variety is really good for gut health. So that comes into my thinking as well. But yeah, nice and high in fibre, nice and high in some simple carbs with the pasta, and of course, the protein, the quality source of protein with the chicken as well. Getting those amino acids on board. I'm also eating this at 7 o'clock. So I'm giving myself plenty of time to digest the food before I go to bed, which is typically around 10 o'clock. After this, I may well have another little pot of chocolate pudding. I'll show you if I do. If I fancy something sweet, that is what I'll typically have. But I'm going to get stuck into this now. Whilst you're on the camera, I'm going to give this a taste test. I'd be lying if I said I haven't already tasted it whilst I was cooking it. But let me know, or I'll let you know what it's like. And it is banging. So good. I love to use different herbs and spices as well. Again, they come with different polyphenols and different, what's the word I'm looking for here? I suppose polyphenols is correct. So, plant defense chemicals that are really good again for gut health. I'm big on gut health if you haven't already been able to tell. But they also add different flavors and different textures, which is, enhancing the dish. And at the end of the day, I've mentioned this a few times in this video, but if you're not enjoying the food you're eating, then what's the point? There's nothing worse than a bland bit of chicken and rice. So mixing up the herbs and spices adds extra layers. The leeks add a lovely touch to this one as well. But I'm going to tuck into this now, get a bit of telly on and chill for the evening. I've got a bit of editing to do. I'll let you know, of course, if I tuck into some chocolate protein pudding. But if not, the outro will be next. Okay, so naturally, I have indeed gone in for another little bowl of chocolate pudding. That's another scoop of whey protein isolate in there. So that is going to be my last meal, or my last food item, I guess you could say, of the day. And that rounds this full day of eating of a nutritionist. I hope you have taken something from this. Again, it's just been a very highly requested video. I've had a few people ask me to, reveal what I eat in a day typically. Obviously, this has been a lower intensity, lower volume day. If you want to see me do a very similar video on a higher intensity training day, where I'm training twice a day, maybe like a double threshold day, or just a higher volume day of training where I'm going to be eating more, it might be a little bit more exciting. If you want to see that, do let me know in the comments down below. But as always, if you have taken some value from this, I would really, really appreciate it if you could like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out. I'm going to be releasing 2 to 3 YouTube videos every single week for the foreseeable future. So there's plenty of content, plenty of value coming your way. If there's anything you want to see, again, let me know in the comments section down below. If you want to learn how you can implement these sort of strategies, these sort of nutrition habits and techniques into your routine to optimize your health and improve your daily life, improve your performance on a day-to-day basis, I will make you aware of the funnel or the link in the description down below that will, for full transparency, take you to my funnel where you'll get to learn a bit more about what I offer as a coach and what my services are, and you can book in a call so that we can have a chat about how I might be able to help you out. But other than that, thanks so much for watching this one. I really do appreciate you for getting to this point in the video, and I will be coming thick and fast with more content, so stay tuned. I'm going to enjoy this little cheeky chocolate protein pudding, and I'll see you all in a bit.